Wake up, rise and shine. It's a brand new day with Mona News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing the mod thing. Jedi Jess, good morning. Captain Kern, good morning. Everyone, good morning. And a couple of housekeeping things. I am still trying to figure out, even though I purchased Premium X, why my StreamYard isn't linking. I tried shutting everything down and logging out, and that's about all the internet magic I know, so it looks like I will actually be talking to customer service at Twitter. God pray for us all. Flash fan, I am doing fine today. I hope you are doing well. Our first story has a heroic 10-year-old boy, saving his grandfather and his own life, by grabbing the wheel after his grandfather passes out while driving 75 miles per hour on a Georgia highway. So this little guy saved his grandpa and his life by, assessing the situation and realizing that he was going to have to, take the wheel and help get he and his grandpa out of this dangerous situation. Good morning, Tammy and Terry D. A heroic 10-year-old boy grabbed the wheel when his grandfather passed out while driving 70 miles per hour on a Georgia highway and steered them to safety in an extraordinary act of bravery. Little Drake Lynn was a passenger in his grandfather's pickup truck as the pair towed a boat they just picked up from a repair shop down Interstate 95 in Dalton on July 15th, according to Gordon County Sheriff's Office. His papa, 68-year-old Hugh Cox, was on the phone with a coworker when he suddenly stopped talking and fell unconscious, the Washington Post reported. I didn't know what was going on, and I was scared, Drake told the newspaper. Cox's coworker, who remained on the line, told Drake to call his mother, Jessica Lynn, who then instructed her son to jump onto his grandfather's lap and drive the car over to the shoulder. Then the call cut out. I felt like that was probably the last time I was going to hear his voice, Lynn told WAPO about her son. It was just the most desperate and out of control feeling. I can't imagine being a mom and being on the phone call as you're having to yell out to your terrified 10-year-old, okay, I need you to take over the wheel. I need you to sit on grandpa's lap. I need you to press your foot on, and if it were me, I'd be like, I need you to press your foot on the pedal closest to the door, the driver's door, because y'all know I don't know my left and my right, but I can remember what's closest to the driver's door is the brake. Cox, the grandfather who is a diabetic and relies on a glucose monitoring device to control his blood sugar. However, it had stopped working the day before the incident. When the grandfather called his pharmacy to get it replaced, he was told that there was an issue with his insurance that would need to be addressed first. Of course, unable to track his blood sugar that day, his levels were dangerously low and he fell into a diabetic coma. Drake, who does have experience driving ATVs and golf carts around his farm in Calhoun, Georgia, his mother said, which may have given him the confidence to jump into action on the highway. It was in the middle of an interstate, and I had no idea where I was, so I drove about a mile until I knew where I was, Drake told WAPO. He said his only thought was getting his grandfather into an ambulance to save his life. He was able to gently pull over on the shoulder while not damaging the boat in tow. I mean, this kid might be a better driver than Mo. Do not trust Mo with anything trailing behind her. Look, the things I did on that poor Walmart when I was on bed rest for both of the last boys, I apologize profoundly to every single worker at the Walmart. I don't know where corners are, and I am sorry my spatial awareness is gross. So I apologize distinctly for the Walmart, employees that had to endure me on that little cart. But this child may have better driving skills than I do, which is all I wanted to point out. He then called 911 and explained that Cox was a diabetic. Oh, and he got a little medal. He's such a cutie patootie. Oh, I love it. I'm really scared, Drake said, sobbing as he told the dispatcher, I don't want him to die. First responders and Lynn quickly arrived on the scene. EMTs hooked him up to an IV drip, and he began to feel better at about 20 to 30 minutes, he said. Cox was soon well enough to be driven home by his daughter. He called the episode one of the worst he's ever had and acknowledged that without his grandson with him, it could have ended in tragedy. I'll usually go by myself when I pick up the boat. I asked him if he wanted to go, and we took off, Cox said. It was good. I had him with me. I'm really proud of him. He's a good kid. Sheriff Mitch Ralston of Gordon County said that the little boy's actions were just extraordinary. Drake was honored by the sheriff's office in a ceremony on July 17th, which happened to be the boy's 11th birthday. I knew I liked him. Okay, you're a birthday buddy. Well, of course, you were born on the most magical day ever, July 17th. I'm just kidding with you guys. He received a Citizen Service Award as well as an Atlanta Braves cap and t-shirt and 4 tickets to an Atlanta Braves game. We wanted to do something for him not only because he saved his life and his grandfather's life, but also many motorists' lives. Ralston said, he's a hero, no doubt. Drake's parents, however, were not surprised at their son's bravery. My own child saved my own parent. Lynn said it made my heart swell. Good day, Aussie Tank. So a good story to start the day. Oh no, Captain Kern, I hope you're okay. Yikes. That sounds terrifying. Oh, thank you. I think I have to do that whole verification thing. So I'm going to have to get on that. I've been in the middle of, oh my gosh, squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. So I'm starting all these new things, and now I have to sit down and actually, okay, I've got planners coming, and we are going to map things out with all these disparate channels now, making a complete, guideline and reining in some of those squirrels. I'm sure this is old news to most of you, but I figured I would keep it up. 2 more troopers tied to the Karen Reed case are under internal investigation, authorities say. I mean, my shock, you can't imagine. 2 more? Are you sure? Not all of them? 2 more Massachusetts state troopers linked to the Karen Reed case are under internal affairs investigation after her trial, which included allegations of law enforcement efforts to frame Reed in the killing of her police officer boyfriend, ending up with a hung jury this month, authorities said Wednesday. The troopers, Detective Brian Tully and Sergeant Yuri Buchanek, will remain on active duty during the investigation, a spokesperson for the Massachusetts State Police said. A 3rd trooper who is under investigation, Michael Proctor, was suspended without pay this month after a 3-member panel made the recommendation following a duty status hearing. An agency spokesperson would not provide additional details about the investigations into Tully and Buchanek. The interim state police superintendent, Colonel John Maughan, said that the agency was reviewing allegations of serious misconduct raised at Reed's trial about Proctor, the lead investigator in the case. Tully supervised the case and the detective unit at the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office where Proctor worked. At trial, Proctor did admit to sending all of the chat group messages, and it really is, again, this is more to cover their behinds, if you ask me, because what you have right now is, I'm guessing, a bevy of defense attorneys that are questioning both the integrity and the effort and the investigation of various cases that these officers have been involved with. So if they want to have any validity, they are going to have to do a cover their own behind sort of internal investigation after action sort of review, in which they can either confidently come out and say, hey, we rounded up the four, bad apples, the 3 or 4 bad apples, and we've taken care of it. We apologize. We've weeded out the bad apples, or we've done our own internal investigation and investigated ourselves not guilty. So that's what I think they're doing. That's my tinfoil on it. Feel free to agree, disagree, or be agnostic about the whole idea. In What in the Name of Revelations? I need to reread that book because I did not have giant poisonous worms that regenerate when you chop them coming out of the drains in frickin' Texas because of rains. Good morning, Celestial Force and Grumpy Granny and Nanny Goat. Y'all, no, we don't need poisonous worms. We don't need them. Everything is bigger in Texas. Heavy rains around Houston are expected to bring out poisonous foot-long worms that can regenerate if cut in half, officials warned this week. The nightmarish hammerhead flatworm is an invasive species that secrete toxins that can cause the skin to become irritated if humans touch it. The creepy crawler, which thrives in hot tropical climates, can also be poisonous to pets if ingested and is known to carry parasites. Now, far be it from me to influence you on how to deal with this, Texas, but you do have access to what we would like to call a lot of force multipliers, and I don't think that thing can regenerate from a 40 shot, if you understand what I'm saying. I'm just thinking God has given us both the tools and the ability in Texas to take care of this, okay? They're often scattered on lawns, sidewalks, and roads after rainstorms flush them out of their underground burrows, putting people and animals at risk. But do not cut them into pieces to try to kill them, experts say. It will regenerate. Ashley Morgan Orvera, MS, of the Texas Invasive Species Institute told KHOU, if you chop them into 2 pieces, you get 2 worms. Yep, pretty much. Holy fire, yes, use. Again, this is why I was not put in charge of the ark, because God would be like, Mo, I don't see those poisonous snails on the boat. Your lordliness, I sent them their RSVP and they never got back to me, and I tried to hold the boat as much as I could, but they just couldn't get on the boat. What was I going to do? Do you want the giraffes to drown? Instead, put on a pair of gloves, place the worms in a plastic bag with salt and vinegar or citrus oil, and put them in the freezer overnight. Wait a minute. It's a poisonous worm that carries parasites, and you would like me to put it in a plastic bag, not made of Kevlar, and put it next to my food items? No, absolutely not. That will not be the case of anything happening. I mean, not even in my garage refrigerator that's only for drinks and extra ice cream overflow would I do that. Absolutely not. Even once the worm is dead, do not touch it. If touched, officials recommend rinsing the affected area with soap and water. These people are acting like tongs were not invented. Everyone has a pair of tongs. You get that some bitch in a tongs, you put them in an extra Walmart grocery bag, and then we make a big bonfire. I have no idea. That would be my suggestion. I'm not sure either PETA, the EPA, or most doctorologists would recommend. The hammerhead worm, also known as the shovelhead or arrowhead, gets its name from its strange head shape, which is similar to that of a hammerhead shark. They can grow up to 15 inches long and have been mistaken for snakes. The pest preys on earthworms, which are vital for crops in natural environments. They paralyze earthworms by slathering them in their toxic slime before, eating them. Again, why don't we have a roundup? I mean, this is Texas. I think we could get all this figured out by at least noon. I have said that I am more Midwestern than a side of ranch dressing at every restaurant I go to. In addition, they are frightening in their ability to regenerate. They undergo a similar process where they can reproduce asexually that sounds like a scene out of a David Cronenberg movie. A portion of the rear of the worm breaks off, grows a new head, producing a new flatworm genetically identical to its parent. A literal chip off the old block, Dr. Layton said. Worms, along with other members of a giant flatworm species, are able to produce tons of offsprings without a partner. And give me 1 second, my daughter is calling in, so I have no idea why. Ah, no, I my Nick, my daughter called. She needs a physical to start cross country, though. Why anyone would want to run for fun, including but not limited to one of my offspring, it does confuse me. So there you go. Uh, y'all, uh, Texas was maybe going to be a place I was going to go, but if they have a bunch of these, things that God should have left off the ark, I'm afraid that's going to be a no-go, you guys. The places in the world I can go move after retirement is getting smaller and smaller. In other random odd news, now I don't know if they found the stack of Gelfling bodies uh, that Governor Hochul has sucked clean to remain as young and interesting looking as she does, but the FBI has raided former Hochul aide at her $3.5 million Long Island home. Now, y'all, tell me this woman doesn't look like a Skeksis, okay? I am telling you, she doesn't even, all she needs is a beak. If you are a Gelfling, stay away from this woman. If you have Fey blood in you, stay away from this woman. I am just saying, things will not end well for you. This is the aide in question. I can't imagine what she's done to tick off the feds. And good morning, Alice G. A former aide to Governor Kathy Hochul had her $3.5 million Long Island home raided by the FBI early Tuesday, law enforcement sources told the Post. The feds carried out the pre-dawn search at the 5-bedroom property where Linda Sun, one of Hochul's former deputy chiefs of staff, lives in a gated community in Manasset, sources said. The reason for the aid, first reported on by the New York Times, isn't immediately clear. Neither Sun, 40, or her husband, Chris Hu, 41, have been accused of doing anything wrong. No arrests were made during the raid. The search warrant was obtained by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn, sources said. A spokesperson for the office declined to comment Wednesday. A heavy law enforcement presence was spotted outside the property for the duration of the raid, though it wasn't immediately clear if the feds seized anything. The couple has owned the expansive property that was raided until transferring it to a trust in March, the property records show. Son has worked on various government roles across the Empire State for 15 years, including the Hochul and ex-Governor Andrew Cuomo administrations, according to our LinkedIn profile. While working as Hochul's aide, Son focused on business development, Asian American affairs, diversity, equity, and inclusion, her profile shows. Son, who attended both Barnard College and Columbia University, left her executive chamber role after 15 months and took a job with the New York State Department of Labor in 2022. She left the state service last year after allegedly being fired after evidence of misconduct, a source familiar with the situation told the Post. Okay, I'm trying to say one nice thing about people I don't generally like. I will say that Miss Hochul, you look semi-human here. I think that the lavender periwinkle color is a great color for you. You look semi-human, and I think you should stick to, very soft palette. You're definitely a spring. Just embrace those pastels, ma'am. Embrace them. All right, there you go. That's my kindness moment for the day. The misconduct was serious enough that it was referred to law enforcement, the source said. Son got her start in state government when she started working as a chief of staff to then Assemblywoman Grace Ming, a Democrat from Queens, straight out of college. The aide was then brought into the Cuomo administration mainly to be a community liaison for Queens and the Asian community there, a source said. Her husband, meanwhile, runs a swanky liquor store in Flushing, Queens, where at least one bottle of wine positioned near the door retails for $700. Every time I hear Flushing, Queens, I just go directly into the jingle for the nanny. So, that's probably not appropriate. But she was working in a bridal store in Flushing, Queens till her boyfriend kicked her out. Okay, anywho. Welcome to 90s kids life. He also has incorporated various businesses within the last decade, including one at the beginning of the panorama called Medical Supplies USA LLC. So, nothing so much. I will try to keep an eye on this because I think that there is going to be a lot of shenanigans coming up. And I am not quite sure what's going on here. In what is going on in this world, I thought it was firecrackers. The son on phone with father when he heard him being shot and unalived. I can't imagine the pain and sadness of hearing, a family member get unalived while you're on the phone and can do nothing. So if nothing else comes from this story, I do hope that this gentleman is getting all of the support and mental health, talking to, therapy, whatever he's going to need, because I can imagine that's going to be something that will never leave his mind. A family is in mourning after a 38-year-old father of 3 was shot and killed in his driveway at his Illinois home on Monday night. The DuPage County Sheriff's Office said in a press release that officers responded to a shooting at a home near 16th and Meyer Road in Lombard and found a 38-year-old man shot to death in a car parked in the driveway. The coroner took custody of the body and the vehicle was towed for processing. Family members identified the victim to Chicago's ABC affiliate WLS and WGN as Alal Ginmat. The victim was on the phone with his teenage son as he was coming home. He turned off the car and I was just talking with him, the son told WLS. He was laughing and then I just heard, I thought it was firecrackers, but I go outside to check on him and I see that. I told my mom to go inside and I tried to call the police as fast as I can. Cops have not made an arrest at the case. The DuPage County Sheriff's Office extends its deepest condolences to family and friends of the victim, and it's committed to uncovering the circumstances surrounding this tragic event. Spokesperson Michael Criolla said in a statement, "The family is left wondering why someone would want to unalive their loved one. He moved to the Chicago area from Palestine over 20 years ago. It feels like you're dreaming. It doesn't feel like it's real life," another family member told WGN. And it's just the shock that his kids had to go through when they had seen him in the car and his wife that kills me even more. Anyone with information is urged to contact DuPage County Sheriff's Office. So, unfortunately, hopefully they find someone. Unfortunately, the closed case record for Chicago PD has not been the greatest. So I do hope that the family gets answers, even if they have to hire someone themselves to get answer. I don't know. But that's a terrible thing for the son to have to deal with. In speaking of people, and this chick goes straight to Snake Island because we don't hurt animals. We don't hurt animals. This is not a hard rule, but in Olympic hijinks and shenanigans, a video was released that forced three-time gold medalist Charlotte DeJarn to drop out of the Olympics. Now, she was part of Olympic dressage, which is basically horse dancing, if you ask my opinion. But this is the video that got her banned, and I don't want to watch it anymore because she's hurting a horse who's not doing something right, and I don't like it at all. Disgraced British Olympian Charlotte DeJarn continuously, hurt or whipped a horse during a training session several years ago in a stunning video, which led the three-time gold medalist to withdraw from the 2024 Olympics in Paris on Tuesday. The video displays DeJarn repeatedly, whipping the horse as it walked around a dirt training area with the horse not reacting well to the blows. In one particularly stomach-churning moment, the horse appears to be pulling away from DeJarn in fear while she approaches with the implement before even using it. Because horses are not dumb. We do not hit animals to get them to do what they want or what we want. The Federal Equestrian or International FEI announced Tuesday that it had received the video depicting Miss DeJarn engaging in conduct contrary to the principles of horse welfare. A lawyer filed the video for a complaint with the incident happening at a private stable per the statement. The FEI has been investigating, and DeJarn confirmed her identity to the organization and acknowledged that her conduct was inappropriate. She received a provisional suspension from the FEI, and the British Equestrian and British Dressage imposed the same punishment, which bans her from both national and international events. Absolutely. DeJarn has apologized for her actions on Instagram while announcing her withdrawal. I mean, again, all of these, you can earn a horse's trust, and yes, you can be firm, but there's a difference between firmness and fear. And you don't get respect from fear, you get terror and anxiety. And I don't think anxious, terrified animals perform any better than anxious, terrified kids. I think that's a lot of that is a lot of people's problems when disciplining kids, is that yes, you can get good behavior when kids fear you, but what you get is a nervous kid that has ulcers at the age of 8, Or you can get a kid who you gently encourage, of boundaries, and then when they go too far, they have consequences, but they know they can mess up and still have a safe place to be. I don't get that style of parenting. I'm not calling you out. Things work differently for different families, but I would never co-sign that. What happened was completely out of character and does not reflect how I train horses. Um, I'm gonna go with BS, considering you were really okay with doing it in a training session. People tend to do what works for them. They tend to follow patterns. She didn't just bring that. I mean, she didn't look confused about how to use the whip, you know, what she wanted to get the horse to do. So I call BS, like, I have never done this before. I don't know what I was thinking. I had some date. I had some Dimetap, and y'all know Dimetap. It is purple. I thought it was grape juice. No, no, this is something that it has been a habit. It doesn't look like something that is foreign to her. So I call BS, and I hope that, again, paths to redemption should be open. But ma'am, you have done pissed off a lot of people. People like animals more than like they like people. And well, you got a lot of redemptionation to do, if you will. Speaking of another person that needs a lot of redemptionation, and I might be taking away the boys' iPads so they can't watch this person, Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast has broken his silence on his former co host, Kaya Chris Tyson's grooming allegations. He says that he feels disgusted. It seems like part of So I don't generally truck with a lot of YouTube drama llama stuff, but this is fairly serious, and you would have to be living under a rock to not hear the Mr. Beast and what's his name sort of random shenanigans that are going on out there. But it does seem really odd if I were an employer and I knew that one of my employees who was in their early 20s was emailing and having a friendship with a 13-year-old who was not related to them. It would get all the ick factors for me. Now, I don't know if Mr. Beast is a parent, so maybe he doesn't get those sort of ick vibes yet, or maybe he's somewhat oblivious. But YouTube star Mr. Beast has broken his silence on the allegations of grooming a minor against his former co host, Ava Chris Tyson. Tyson, 28, this week announced that she's quitting the popular channel after she. Okay, can we stop with this? Look, I get that this person has made a choice to change their outward presenting appearance. Do we have to also change the entire human language? I don't get where the line between nice and then I have to read what is insanely what is I mean, topically, freaking newspeak. Anywho, so basically, the allegation was that on Discord, when this child was 13 and this person was 20, there were inappropriate sexual texts going on all over. Now, the child has come out, I believe they're of age now, saying nothing happened. We were just telling edgy jokes. But therein is what grooming is. You get someone used to the fact that anyone in their right mind who's a parent, who's got nephews, who's got, nieces, who's got kids that they care about, you hear that a rando 20-year-old dude is sending really inappropriate stuff to your 13-year-old, relative. It's honey badger time. It's honey badger time. This is the exact definition of grooming, because what you are doing is making this normal place. You are getting past that initial, like, this is probably not appropriate for a kid to be, or for an adult to be talking to me about. But it's desensitizing a child or a victim into thinking, okay, this is normal. It's just a joke. It's just you know, a thing that cool kids are doing. And that's how grooming is. I feel bad for this child. I don't know why his parents didn't safeguard him, but I also know that 13-year-olds don't tell their parents everything. In turn, Mr. Beast, whose real name is Jimmy Donaldson, said that he would no longer be working with Tyson and revealed he's hired a third party to conduct a thorough investigation into allegations. Quote, over the last few days, I've become aware of serious allegations of Ava Tyson's behavior online, and I'm disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable acts, he wrote on X Wednesday night. The video streamer told his 30 million followers that he has hired an independent third party to investigate further, so he has all the facts. Again, please be crash daddies. Look, I'm just trying to get the crash daddies more business. It's not that I really want to see them, investigate everything, although I think they should. That said, I've seen enough online and taken immediate action to remove Ava from my company, my channel, and any association with Mr. Beast. He continued, I do not condone or support any of the inappropriate actions. I will allow independent investigators the necessary time to conduct comprehensive investigation and will take the further actions based on their finding. And thank you for Wolfram gifting 5 memberships, and those went to Neat Scholar, Mads, Roxanne McClellan, Bree H, and Rabid Rooster. I'm guessing that's Rooster with a 7. So congratulations. Welcome to the Church of Mo. We appreciate you here. We have dark chocolate and sarcasm. And you don't have to watch The Acolyte, so you're welcome. His comments came just one day after Tyson addressed the allegations on X Tuesday. I would like to apologize for my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone, Tyson began in their statement. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things Mr. Beast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. She added. Tyson was accused of grooming one young fan who is known as Lava. A 45-minute video posted online in June to the account Prism42, according to Rolling Stone. In the video claimed that Tyson sent a Snapchat message to the then minor of their face and text climaxing for America. However, Lava, now 20, denied the allegations on Monday. In follow-up tweets, Tyson said, I wanted to add, I never groomed anyone. The person who gets brought up in these allegations, who uses the handle Lava GS and on X goes by Lava, has vocally supported that they are false. No, what Lava has said is that, again, that grooming is making things commonplace. It's not like you have to be, methodical about it. It's simply getting someone used to so that their this is right, this is wrong sensor is off. I mean, if you're, say, with a bunch of smokers, you're not going to mind if they smoke. This is just going to get ugly. I hope everyone understands that. I have a feeling that and JKD Buck is right, more people are coming forward. I will say that I hope that there's not a lot, because I know my boys like Mr. Beast. In fact, they will, it's getting them to accept this as normal. It's not so much, like, hey, don't tell anyone, this is our secret hidey spot, and this is, our secret handshake, and this is just hugging. It's getting them used to the idea that this is okay, this is commonplace. Adults talk to kids about smexy stuff all the time. We just don't talk about it out in public, but this is totally normal. I mean, again, I have a feeling that more people are going to be coming out of the word work. I don't know if this is going to cause a reckoning on YouTube, but I think it might, at least with channels that have a lot of interaction with younger watchers. but I can foresee a lot more shenanigans coming shortly. What in the hell is going on in Missouri? A Missouri prison ignores court order to free wrongfully convicted inmate for a second time in weeks. Missouri? I'm pretty sure you can't just hold people. You're not Kamala Harris. Haha, allegedly just a joke, but she did hold people over to help, you know, fight forest fires. And we do have several forest fires. And welcome, Poop Liquor 9000. And sure, you can ask anything you want. Whether I answer or not will depend on the question. For the second time in weeks, a Missouri prison has ignored a court order to release an inmate whose murder conviction was overturned. Just as in the case of Sandra Hemme, actions by the state's attorney general are keeping Christopher Dunn locked up. A St. Louis Circuit Court judge, Jason Seinheiser, on Monday tossed out Dunn's conviction for the 1990 killing, or for a 1990 killing. Dunn, 52, had spent 33 years behind bars. He remained Tuesday at the state prison in Licking. The state of Missouri shall immediately discharge Christopher Dunn from custody. Seinheiser's ruling states Dunn was not released after his conviction was overturned because Republican Attorney General Andrew Bailey is appealing the judge's ruling, and we are waiting the outcome of legal action, Missouri Department of Corrections spokeswoman Karen Punjman said on an email Tuesday. What's the girls doing with X? I have no idea what the girls are doing on the morning in X. I generally have been able to stream to X my morning stuff, but I think I need to go ahead and get verified. So that's all that is. We are awaiting the outcome of that. The decision to keep Dunn incarcerated puzzled St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore, whose office instigated the investigation of his case and determined he was wrongfully convicted, prompting a May hearing before Seinheiser. In our view, the judge's order was very clear, ordering his immediate release, Gore said at a news conference Tuesday. Based on that, we are considering what approach and legal options we have to obtain Mr. Dunn's relief. No, she was just calling because we need to set up a physical. That's all. Let's see here. Dunn's situation is similar to what happened to Hemme, 64, who spent 43 years in prison for a fatal stabbing of a woman in St. Joseph in 1980. A judge on June 12th, this is just a case that I saw on the news, and I think we have covered it. I think I covered his exoneration, but this is an update that they still are not letting him out. So he has been exonerated. Yes. Now the Attorney General is stating that he is appealing the exoneration, which I didn't think you could do. Let's see. She was the longest held wrongly incarcerated woman known in the U.S., according to the Midwest Innocence Project, which worked to free Hemme and Dunn. But appeals by Bailey all the way up to the Missouri Supreme Court kept Hemme imprisoned at the Chillicothe Correctional Center. During a court hearing Friday, Judge Ryan Horseman said if Hemme was not released within hours, Bailey himself would have to appear in court with contempt of court on the table, and she was released later that day. The judge also scolded Bailey's office for calling the Chillicothe Warren and telling prison officials not to release Hemme after he ordered her to be freed on her own recognizance. It wasn't clear if the attorneys Attorney General's office similarly called prison officials at the prison where Dunn is housed. Dunn's wife, Cara, said that she would hold off celebrating until he's really out of prison. We're overjoyed. At the same time, we're afraid to really exhale until Chris actually takes his first free steps and feels the free ground against his feet, Kira Dunn told a news conference. When that happens, I think all these feelings we've been holding onto for so long will finally erupt. Dunn was convicted of first-degree murder in a 1990 shooting of a 15-year-old named Rico Rogers. Gore filed a motion in February seeking to vacate the guilty verdict. After weighing the case for nearly 2 months, Singheiser issued a ruling that cited a clear and convincing show of actual evidence that undermines the basis for Dunn's convictions, because in light of the new evidence, no juror acting reasonably would vote to find Dunn guilty of all these crimes beyond a reasonable doubt. Lawyers for Bailey's office said at a hearing that the initial testimony from 2 boys at the scene who identified Dunn as the shooter was correct, even though they recanted as adults. A Missouri law adopted in 2021 lets prosecutors request hearings when they see evidence of wrongful conviction. Although Bailey's office was not required to oppose such efforts, he did so at a hearing for Lamar Johnson, who spent 28 years in prison for murder. Another St. Louis judge ruled in February 2023 that Johnson was wrongfully convicted and he was freed. Excuse me. Another hearing begins August 21st for death row inmate Marcellus Williams. Bailey's office is opposing the challenge to Williams' conviction, too. The hearing comes with urgency. Williams is scheduled to be unalived by the state. Let's see, where am I? September 24th. St. Louis prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell filed a motion in January to vacate the conviction of Williams for the fatal stabbing of Leisha Gale in 1998. Bell's motion said 3 experts determined that Williams' DNA was not on the handle of the butcher knife used in the killing. Williams narrowly escaped execution before. In 2017, then Governor Eric Greitens granted a stay and appointed a board of inquiry to examine the innocence claim. The board never issued a ruling, and Governor Mike Parson, like Greitens, a Republican, dissolved it a year later. The Missouri Supreme Court ruled in June that Parson had the authority to dissolve the board and set the September execution date. So I think that, these are cases that we need to look into. I will write that down on my handy dandy notebook or notepad of things I need to look into. But, doing a case study of Missouri cases that seem to have been overturned might be a good idea, since it seems to be somewhat commonplace right now. At least by this article. And I do have to note how many times they did use the word Republican in there. So this might be slightly slanted. And I will say that the Evidence Project has not always picked the most innocent of people to be their spokespeople. So it's definitely something that I will write down to look more into when I have a free moment. So in about 16 years, you guys will definitely get a video. I'm just kidding. Not really, but sort of. And in our second to last story, well, Nicholas, just for you, they found a Viking in a Chinese tomb. I knew you guys got there first. Archaeologists found something they never expected to in an ancient Chinese tomb, a blonde man. Hey, us blondes go everywhere. This is fake. I'm naturally blonde. A Tang Dynasty tomb decorated with colorful murals is providing a new glimpse into daily life in China around the 8th century. Most interestingly, the murals show signs of Western influence, particularly the inclusion of a blonde, bearded figure. A 2018 reconstruction project of a hillside road in the capital of Shaanxi province led to unearthing the tomb, but archaeologists hadn't really reported on the discovery until now. Long Jian, director of Jinyang Ancient City Research Institute of Tuyang Cultural Relics Protection Research Institute says, according to a translation of state-run news outlet, uh, whatever that name is, the tomb has pairs of figures painted on both sides of the tomb door, with paintings of people continuing throughout the tomb, including everything from women pushing stones to grind flour to men making pasta, and women using oranges to fetch water, men stepping on hammers to pound rice. Interesting. Experts believe that the tomb was owned by a man who died in 736 AD at the age of 63 during the middle of the Tang Dynasty, which ran from about 618 to 907 AD. He was buried in the tomb alongside his wife. 8 scenes painted on the tomb are figures under a tree style, trendy at the time, which, not unlike the name suggests, shows daily activities happening under artistically rendered trees. The scenes offer a fresh view on what daily life and responsibilities were during the Tang Dynasty. Figures painted on the tomb all appeared to be of the Han ethnicity, except for one, a figure painted with blonde hair and a beard. Victor Zhang, professor of history at Western Michigan University, who wasn't involved in the discovery, told Live Science that the Westerner painted in the tomb leading camels likely represented someone from Central Asia. Based on his facial features and outfit of style, we can identify him as a Westerner, likely from Shodin, from Central Asia. So those would be around Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. So dang it, not a Viking, unless the Vikings stopped at Tajikistan and then went westward, or no, eastward. Again, do not sign up with Mo for the Donner Tour. We will lead you straight to Canada, and we were supposed to be taking you to Mexico. I have an innate backwards sense of direction. This is not a good idea. The murals coat the entire tomb, save for the floor, the South China Morning Post wrote. The artwork is styled similarly to other Tang-era murals, with strong outlines, simple shadings, and two-dimensional artwork. So, possibly a Viking, possibly just a guy from Uzbekistan, but still, a blonde guy with a beard. Gotta love it. Even in China, they loved a lumbersexual. I feel you guys. I have Kindle Unlimited. I can understand the appeal. If at first you don't succeed, our final story, try again, just maybe not in the same airport. CBP officers in Seattle seize illicit drugs twice in 1 week from the same traveler at the same airport. Well, I almost got away with it twice. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection on Wednesday said it seized, not street legal pharmaceuticals from the same traveler twice in 1 week at a Seattle airport. CBP officials seized pounds of ketamine, codeine, and gamma hydroxybutyrate, also known as GHB, from a traveler who entered the United States from Europe, then tried to return not long after getting released from jail, only to be caught again with drugs at the same airport. You guys, maybe switch mules? Just throwing it out there. He was arrested and turned over to the Port of Seattle Police Department and now faces possession charges with the intent to distribute ketamine under Washington state law. The CBP officers in Seattle's Tacoma International Airport facility work diligently to keep dangerous drugs off the streets of our community. Brian Humphrey, Field Operations Director at CBP Seattle's field office, said. The federal agency said that the unidentified 43-year-old male first arrived on July 19th at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport in Washington from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, when the first seizure took place after he was referred for a secondary inspection. At his luggage inspection, CBP officers discovered more than 12 pounds of ketamine, both in liquid and powder form, about 2 pounds of codeine, and nearly 3 ounces of GHB. Good night. However, not long after posting bail, the male passenger, who was not identified as a U.S. citizen, was seen at the airport again trying to board a flight to London when CBP officers found more than a half a pound of ketamine. Where was this other half pound? I mean, look, he may not be a good he might not be a good smuggler, but he's a good packer. I'm just saying. The boys have thoroughly irritated each other. I am so glad school is almost starting, not because I don't love my children, but because they have thoroughly irritated each other. And with 3 wild feral boys, it is just like trying to keep them from becoming an MMA spectacle every 5 minutes. The efforts were led by Seattle area Port Director Renee Ortega. CBP officers also utilized their broader, unique search authority to prevent people from taking dangerous drugs outside the US, thus stopping threats to other countries. Yes, I'm like, y'all, I love my children, but August the 6th cannot come soon enough. I mean, God love him. The youngest, most feral has out pestered every single person in the house except for Dingus the cat, who is now aligned with him to pester everyone. And then he comes to me with this poor, sad look on his face, and he's like, "No one wants to be my friend." And I was like, "Well, what were you doing?" It's like, I was not trying. My youngest, I was not even trying to annoy them, which means annoy. Uh, but they got me so angry because they would just not do what I told them to do when I told them to do it. And I was like, "Well, Anakin, not everyone has to jump when you tell them to jump just because you've been the baby. You are now a little boy and your cuteness is wearing off. So your brothers are not required to do everything you say." And he's like, "I know, but that would make me less angry." And I said, "Well, I'm sure everyone would be a lot less angry if everyone did what they said." Life wisdom from Griffin, the most feral of feral children. If everyone would just do what I said, I wouldn't be angry and get angerfied. I do have several doctor's appointments to run the kiddos on, so there will probably not be newsy news nuggets today or any hearings. I just have people to run and places to go. So, have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys this evening. And hopefully, the news will just have many more things for us to talk about tonight. Now I'm going to go out into the world. Nope, actually, I'm gonna go explain to the boys that what inside voices are, just again, just for the 100 gajillionth time. You guys, if I'm crying on August the 6th because I'm like happy tears, just go with me on that day, seriously. Bye, guys. I'll see you later and have a great day.